the world's largest lizard is actually not a cold-blooded animal. How come birds from South Africa collectively carry anti-bags? Why does a little monkey the size of a squirrel dare to grow such colorful skin? This issue of Wonderland of Creatures gives you the answer. It is often difficult for people to connect the noisy and crowded cities with the quiet nature. But where we are about to go is an exception. My name is Dongqing, and welcome to the Frankfurt Zoo series in Wonderland of Creatures. I will take you to explore this centuries-old zoo in a magical place of life. In the future actual trial review, I will take you to visit old friends and get to know each other. New faces. From the underwater world to the sky, from the sun's birth to midnight heat. Our lives are more exciting than you imagine. And I will show you all this one by one in the next video. Now I want to bring your curiosity with you. In the last episode, we entered the jungle at night and the little. Playing in the water at the Claw Water Tower, I got to know rabbit-sized deer and saw them again. Deer like mouse. There is also little Yukon, who is completely black, waiting to meet you. Now looking back, across the jungles of South America, we're going back to Asia. The star who loves to visit this venue is a candidate for one of the Franconian beasts. The adult female Komodo giant that has lived here for 12 years is in front of me. This long and narrow area is his living room, which is 8 meters wide and has a total area of about 30 square meters. If he's not out watching tourists, you can keep an eye on the rear right. He might be resting in the bedroom. It was mentioned before in the first episode of Yuluin Public Dance that in this room and hall, tourists may not be able to meet them. So when can we meet them? We met. According to statistics, June Young Clone gets up early in the morning. You may be active near the basking spot until noon, during the hot afternoon period. Only then will they seek shelter from shade and enjoy the cools. So I want to see Cologne in the zoo. Morning is the best opportunity. Almost every day for more than 10 years. At the same time, you can see him in front of the glass, observing people coming and going. Visitors as the largest animal in the entire venue, visitors are not afraid of it. And I was amazed to experience the subject at such a close distance from an angle close to eye level. Dojuxi's body shape. This experience is very rare. So now we ask him to serve as a model to show everyone a closer look at Cologne's body structure. Let's start with the window to the soul. Adult Cologne's eyes are no better than those of humans. Since childhood, the eyebrow palace can shield them from the scorching sun in the place of origin. Their deep eyes are filled with corpse cells, which allow them to stand out under strong light. See the colorful world clearly, but expertise comes with a price. Glasses don't hold up well in low light, so they often stick to the glass. Trying to see the tourists outside clearly. Yes, although the brightness of the pedestrian walkway can meet the needs of the human eye, it is still far lower than that inside the exhibition area. The first is to avoid reflection, and the second is to be able to approach their brightness requirements. The sunshine in the place of origin of the cone can easily reach tens of thousands of lux, if the distance is far. If the environment cannot provide corresponding brightness, then they will inevitably drowsy, just like a person who lives under a cloudy sky every day and cannot afford to fight. Same spirit. So reptiles, especially species that are active during the day, also need enough daylight. Brightness is far beyond what a few small light bulbs can satisfy. Above, the roof here not only brings in skylight but is also equipped with multiple lights. High wattage Lou lamp is enough to cope with the long cloudy German winter. Brightness is the fundamental driving force for it to appear energetically often. This is something that all 4 owners of diurnal reptiles should pay attention to it. They can't even see their surroundings clearly, so how can we expect them to be active? Get up. In the wild, sufficient light can often provide suitable activity temperature that as a tropical species Cologne startup. What is the temperature? Contrary to what many people think, Cologne is actually warm to the touch. During the day, the body temperature in Cologne fluctuates between 32 and 40 degrees sometimes. Even higher than the ambient temperature, even if the temperature drops at night there. The body temperature rarely drops below 25 degrees. In fact, many reptiles experience such a large range of body temperatures every day. Lifting and lowering this change explains the term ectothermal concept. So cold-blooded is not suitable to describe them today. After all, sometimes they are more passionate than humans, but Crone cannot. Infinite heating, when the body temperature is close to 40 degrees, crone will choose to avoid the shade or take a bath. As a result, during the hottest season, he will slide in comfortably. Pool. Enjoying the afternoon sunshine is like missing fingernail extensions. What's going on? Don't worry. We'll talk about it later. The act of taking a bath is also can explain why many crone exhibition areas are equipped with so that they can. The whole body is submerged in the pool. Because Kronosaurus in the wild will often go near streams to look for food. So bathing is not exclusive to species in humid areas. Many reptiles from dry areas also like water. Moreover, the bath also has the function of a basin, which can meet the needs of adult cologne for 2 hours a day. Drinking demand of liters of water for survival in such a hot environment cologne. You don't need to drink as much water as we do, but thanks to their considerable low skin evaporation rate. This is also the reason for the old-fashioned skin of this kind of shallow sago. In addition to improving defense, another advantage of this specialization is it can also be seen in some desert western medicine, but here it not only provides pools and soil layers that can be drilled also have additional value. In fact, here, the entire site is filled with soil mechanisms. In summer, there are some times the pool overflows to simulate the humidity of the rainy season. At this time, some soil layers will becomes loose, especially after the breeder leaves scent clues. Stimulate their enthusiasm for exploration and pace-limited behavior for digging holes. In addition to the obvious tearing purpose, the giant Mundo dragon's huge claws. A bigger use is to dig holes. In the wild, clones can dig up to 1 meter. How deep are the holes to escape the heat and sleep, and how much soil can be dug here? It's also a graceful measure that brings some fun to the boring life of raising children. Wear down their overly long nails and develop decomposers. Consume fecal residue if they are not given the option of digging. Nails that are too long are prone to skin rash just like humans, especially if they live for a long time. On a flat ground, it is more likely to cause lateral bending of the bone graft. There is no difference between the demand for cloning and the common two-person crawling. It is not allowed. Mainly electrical materials can always meet multidimensional needs, but digging holes also requires. It depends on your mood. If you don't drill holes, is there any other way to wear down your nails naturally? Yes, it's climbing. In the wild, young dragons climb trees every day, while adults often hike, especially during the days of foraging. I sometimes have to walk several kilometers a day. Generally speaking, you won't be this hungry when you're lying down, and there's not that much room for you. They slip and bend, so they can only rely on shaping three-dimensional activity space to increase. The ups and downs of the Earth's surface consume them. In fact, all humans can do is imitate a soil slope in the wild. After all, in the wild, the undulations of several meters are also called the surface, which is used here. Boulders were used as stairs and tree trunks were used as bridges to build a climb more than 1 meter high. The highest stone platform in the area can just hold the water falling from the ceiling. Sunlight, especially in autumn and winter, often passes through the pool along the tree trunks. Go to its sauna. After long-term scratching, the bark of the tree has almost fallen off. This is like a cat scum stick. If you don't give juniper an artificial manicure, just let them touch it like this. But if the nails grow too fast, it may also break accidentally. This is why junior cologne will lose some nails. The reason is that this also means that in the initial planning of the park, more attention should be paid to. They are preset with richer and more interesting activities to relieve their exuberance. Experience. Okay. He successfully crossed the river, but he actually had another purpose for this climb. After arriving at the stage, we just rested for a while and then set off to the woods. Sliding down the tree trunk, we meet again and want to return to the stage. You have to overcome an obstacle. Hey, what does this mean? Why are you starting to learn it? Cobra. When I thought he was stuck somewhere, I didn't expect it. He started doing this action repeatedly. That's when I thought of the reason. Just now, I just took a poop, and now my private parts are a bit irritating. This is intentional. Came here to wipe my butt. This news should be familiar to old viewers. You have seen it in Tropical Kawasaki and Voice of Berlin. But it's also the first time eBay's seen him hanging himself on a tree. Do you think Krone is pretty good at it? Congratulations to everyone for witnessing the act of paying for a flight again for free. From this episode. From the beginning to now, we have talked about a lot of unknown nursing care details, but in fact, as the most comprehensively studied ghostwood species, this knowledge is just the tip of the iceberg. We will encounter more suitable pictures in the future. I will continue to explain to you in depth. Let's look at the barrage collection again. Now let's head west to see how small species cope with dry environments. Adaptation strategies. North Africa was once called Barbary in ancient Europe. The water vapor here is sucked away by the high pressure of the attached belt. So the earth is withered and yellow. At first glance, it looks a lot like the Comodo Islands. Similarities. The animals here also find shelter in the fields, but they live in. Animals in this kind of environment should live on the ground, right? Why haven't you entered the country yet? They are actually in the trees. This is not the case. The chipmunk is the Barbary striped rat that lives in North Africa. They are very common animals in the area. The size is also the same as a small mouse. But they also have characteristics worth knowing about. Most are nocturnal. Mice are different in that their retinas also contain a large amount of color recognizing cones, an unusual configuration in mice. In addition, this kind of mouse, which is originally defined as earth energy, does not always traveling in burrows, but can be like a little lizard. Very dexterously climbs up the slender tree trunk to join its peers and then flowers in large numbers. They spend most of their time in the trees, although they can also be seen on shrubs in the wild. But the frequency is far less than in captivity. And you may not see it during the day. Just like what we talked about in the Road Family Museum. In a comfortable captive environment, the behavioral patterns of many animals will change. Night walking may increase your activity time during the day. If you are sure, you can go out more often. Even hanging on a tree. The real reason behind it still needs to be studied. But what is certain is that only after knowing this possibility arrange. Only when the corresponding conditions are met can we witness their potential, perhaps in the future. One day we'll know about these kitten towels hanging on the trees. What's on my mind? And in all the times I've been here, I want to be here. You can only see them on the ground when feeding. You see, this plate of fruits and vegetables attracted them to the dry wilderness. Their staple food is only wild grasses and grains, but in fact every grass rat has a. I have a dream about fruits and vegetables. Once I encounter them, I can't walk. More than a century ago, Ram also used fruits as bait and successfully lured some to take home and raise them. Now both sides are in a state of panic. Benefits from high temperatures and lack of water. Animals in arid areas respond to abundant water. I particularly like food. Next to the grass rat and tealin, this one looks like a guinea pig. The same golden fur ball is no exception. It also lives in North Africa. Vegetable pond rats, but their origin is close to the mountains, and this kind of places are often accompanied by large temperature differences between weeks and nights, in order to cope with the temperature after sunset. Cold temperatures, their hair is very fine and fluffy, and in the morning they look like. Just like reptiles, they run into the sun to keep warm. When they feel warm, they run again. They look for food under the shadow of their eyes. This is their life, every day. The light and shadow of the rock are very similar to the North African pika of western Sichuan. A similar behavioral pattern in the Wamixi cookies in the Kepwayan area. You can also see it on deer and turtles, but these reptiles are excellent at hiding. How do comfort rats avoid natural enemies? Look carefully at them. Comfort rats have large, round ears that they pass by in colonies in the wild. Low-frequency calls and stomps to convey emotions and messages, plus very flexible legs and feet allow them to avoid. The approaching natural enemies are tossing back and forth like this. Just have breakfast and have to leave. Go out a few hundred steps and they can be easily enjoyed like this. Juicy veggies. Unlike hamster rats, they don't have a choice. strengthen kidney metabolism to save water, but modify the large intestine to improve absorption. Water efficiency, but in an environment lacking water sources and fruits and vegetables. So why this contrary specialization? Maybe. In the future, the answer to this question will help us better understand the life of desert animals, the fruits and vegetables in the little hands, the meat of the dragon, and its night walks. Where does the monkey's food come from? Come to the other side of the branch tree. He's in charge of the kitchen in this restaurant. You see, the open kitchen that is popular in the modern catering industry has appeared in zoos for a long time. Moving forward, this exhibition board introduces the design ideas of the entire venue and enrichment measures for star species. When the opportunity comes, you can take your time to read it. Let's continue looking at animals. We just saw so many desert species. Now, it's a sight to behold. This vast area is dotted with 7 large climbs. The exhibition area is a ready room for the South American species that are about to move in. A few months later, when the ground was again covered with electrical materials. I knew it was coming, but this is your first time seeing this species. Let me know in the barrage. This one is wearing a black wrestling vest and swaying into the camera. Koisher Ikemen, a relative of Oishi Ikemen who appeared in the first episode. But an independent species will not turn into a big stone beast when it grows up. In order to make a classification distinction, the Latin signature of 1 hour beast. Commander comes from the Brazilian native language and means someone who eats ants. The signature of a beast also means the same thing, but it comes from Greek. But at that time, a beast could only eat ants on the ground. The hour beast is an all-terrain tank. They are good at climbing trees to use up their strong energy. This exhibition area is equipped with space racks extending in all directions, but this. No matter how you look at the little guy, he doesn't look like a tree. How did they get up there? Look carefully, they actually train their shoulders every day. The arms and the back are what make them. The main driving force for pulling up a tree is not only muscles but also hairy spots. Look carefully. Their hands. Xiaoshuryu's hands only have 4 fingers. And the third one is specialized into sharp long claws, which is very useful in climbing skills. Practical, and at the same time, it still taps into the strength of each hand. It is both a hook and a tableware. The sickle is always in hand and does not hinder mobility. This is the reason why Xiaoshur medical beast walks swaying, because its claws are too long. So I can only use the side of my palm to prevent the long claws from digging into myself. There is only a hard meat pad for cushioning. Their tails are more like the tree porcupines we talked about before, as flexible as cats. Strong and terminal hair degradation, used to increase gripping friction, exactly. Relying on a series of specializations, the little lion and 1 beast found a new way to solve the problem. The action problem is here. Don't look at the many pictures I gave him. In the past few years, I thought lion cubs were the most difficult to photograph in zoos. Species. I've been to a lot of zoos that keep him, but like this one, it's just a matter of time. Time haunted due to seasonal food, environment, and human influence. Different, the lion cub can move at any time. Because light is not the most important thing to them, right? This little. The eyes are obviously not the main force. They are actually the same as snakes. They mainly rely on chemical information, that is, smell, is how we perceive the world. Their continuation. The system is 40 times more powerful than humans, even when living in the dim shadow of trees. It won't hinder their movements. As long as they get up, they can spend 7 or 8 hours of walking up and down for 1 or 2 kilometers, so even such a large space is not enough for them to toss around. In order to make these overalls breathable, the park will. This passage allows them to play outdoors. This is the night hall. The outdoor area on the other side is only a small flower bed away from visitors. In order to prevent each other from hurting each other, a double-layer iron mesh and plastic boards were built here. Make it life apart, and with any luck you can see them come out. Hang out and look at the outside world, or look through the food in the electric box. If you're lucky, you can see them playing and having fun. For small stone ant beasts and companions that originally lived alone, there will also be various social behavior. The light and heat conditions outdoors in summer are always much better than indoors. Even the weak stone ant beasts will benefit from the brighter sunlight. And he was in a good mood, so he showed more behaviors and watched the couple play. It's a pity that it's all blocked by leaves and dirty glass. We can only feel their happiness in a hazy way. A beautiful virgin life often gives birth to the fruit of love after half a year. During a photo shoot, I suddenly discovered that there was a smaller one here. Small food beast. Based on his body shape and lactation device, it is estimated that he should have been born in I photographed. Not long after they were having a fight outdoors. Now, as a little brother, he can no longer be under the protection of his parents. He is now able to move independently and look for food. He is now very new to the things around him. For example, the screws of this fixture bracket aroused its interest. But the taste may be different in touch. It is always the same as its parent. I like to study screws. Okay, enough fun. Soothe your mouth. How about this tongue? Is it long enough? This means they can eat all the way. A good helper along the way. In the neotropics, many ants and insects can. Activities in trees. Snacks, doctors, and veterinarians will use them in the process of climbing trees. Use your nose to detect traces of food and taste it when you encounter it. Big nails. You can also dig out insect hiding places at any time. Compared with his parents, his movements are also slower and more cautious, which allows us to appreciate carefully. The posture of climbing a tree in the way of movement of CRU medical veterinary medicine can be said to be the precursor. The forearms open the way and the hind legs are responsible for stabilization. In the first episode I mentioned that the big trial medicine animal is to go straight, that is, put the back heel down. We were walking. We were far away at the time, so you might not be able to see clearly. You can see this time. A small test of the parts of the feet of medical animals, and more than 5 of them in humans. The glue is cracked and the hair is relatively sparse, which can increase friction. Increase stability. In the wild, they will also follow the tracks of ants. Always find their nest because they rely on scent to track them. They have to use their little noses to constantly sniff out the clues left by their food. This is also. It is a major benefit of Earth electrical materials as an important natural mechanism. The soil itself contains a lot of odor information, which can better pass through the water saturated way to nourish the microbiota, which is essential for animals that rely on their sense of smell to sense the world. It is a very important way of style. This kind of electrical material combination. This is something that many captive animals can learn from. Following the scent, it finally found a feeding bucket. This is a homemade structure created by breeders to imitate the wild, possibly. There are rotten trees with different shapes, but the ones inside are basically the same. It is easy to obtain feed bugs, so half-air vents are made at both ends to let the bugs. It's not easy to climb out. We have to give the lion-feathered beast a chance to dismantle it. That's it. It will become a tool that allows animals to use their energy to solve problems. Compared to fixed foam furniture, this kind of disposable temporary foam furniture. It's also important for animals. Of course, the purpose of bees is to enrich the lives of captive animals, not necessarily. How much you can eat and how well you can play also have emotional value. For example, he takes out. Here comes this barley worm. It might be a bit thick for him. He was thrown directly. What else was in the tube? This black hole was very dangerous to him. It still has infinite appeal. The 2 green bamboo poles crossing it are. What does it mean? Let's take a look at the insertion positions. They are all at the holes at both ends, right? This is to prevent lions and beasts from getting too involved and getting their heads stuck. The suffocation protection device inside has these 2 bamboos to block them. The head will not go in too deep and will not get stuck in there and cannot come out. That's right. All you have to do to eat is snacks. Just raise animals. There's nothing else to do. You can work harder while eating snacks. As for dinner should be eaten quickly. Because the staple food of food-breeding beasts is too low in calories and their amount of exercise is. It's too big, and the specialized tongue needs to be fully exercised, so the zoo. Not only do we need synthetic feed to replace some of the ants, we also need special decorative basins need to be designed so that they can eat normally. Let's take a look. The first type of lunchbox has a densely meshed surface to allow their tongues to. It can be used as if it is in the wild, and can move deeply and randomly. The capacity inside the lunchbox is large enough and stable enough when placed on the ground. Let them eat enough food in a short period of time. The paste inside is artificial feed. In the past, due to Dortmund is very famous for nourishing food by 1 trillion, so now. Eat 1 trillion feed, also known as the Dortmund formula. This is A. Mixed with banana almonds, egg yolk, horse meat, and baby milk powder, etc. The goal is to make a compound drink with ingredients at the lowest cost and the easiest. When obtaining raw materials, try to replace ants and termites. After all, it would be too expensive to raise enough ants to feed them, but fortunately, after decades of verification, this formula currently has almost no problems for lion cubs. But the feed for big lions is much more complicated and still not perfect. As practitioners, there are still many problems that need to be solved. The second type of lunchbox is a non-fixed feed that hangs next to it. It is commonly used in the thoughts of many tree animals. Which ones can I think of? If you have seen it in an animal environment, you can leave a message on the barrage if you forget it. You can watch a few episodes ahead, but what's different from other arboreal species is that the lion cub eats soy sauce, so it still has to be eaten in a bowl. When they're nearsighted, you can see their long, sticky tongues. How to use. Green beasts, like other ant-eating species, have modified saliva lines. The saliva is large and sticky, which can absorb bugs very well. Nearly 40. A centimeter tongue swallows food hundreds of times per minute. Take it into your mouth. So this also requires that the edges of the food plate should be rounded and not sharp. Otherwise, it's really hard to imagine how this little cherry mouth would live without its tongue. In addition to designing feeding containers that imitate natural behavior, can we do something else? What about innovation? Of course you can. The cloth bag next to it is made by the breeder. There are only a few gaps in the body bag for them to stick their tongues in, and the bag itself is very light and cannot be fixed for eating. It seems that the inspiration for the thing is not something you would see in the wild, but you see, it also brings fun to the lion cubs. It's okay. Safety hazards. Although it is a completely man-made object, there are. It's also very reasonable here. This is an idea based on actual needs. It is also a product that can only be developed by people who know how to raise animals. The little lion beast is today. Enough has been said. So in the Wonderland of Creatures series, there have been a total of several types of animals that rely mainly on ants. What about the animals that eat? What are the similarities and differences between them and lion-feathered beasts? Do you still remember? Come to the barrage or comment area to introduce it to everyone. Okay, I got to know the tree beasts of Yulin. Let's take a look at how animals live in trees in dry areas. This place is still in the environmental preparation period, but it will be decorated in a month. How about it? Do you feel that there's not much difference between the front and back? There seems to be more on the trees. It's a bird's nest. It's different from the feather forest where natural shelters are scattered all around. In the grasslands of western China, small animals want to protect themselves, either by clinging to cover or not. Either give up or build a bunker, and the protagonist here is this. A combination of the two, they are the birds of the flock when the annual rainfall is insufficient. 600 mm from southern Namibia to the western grasslands of South Africa. The waist-deep grass is full of dangers, but the middle space is empty. So when the birds encounter a suitable tree, they must seize the opportunity to build a nest. And they don't just build their own nests like most birds. Rather, they gather together to build a building. In the wild, a flock of birds can form a colony of hundreds. The community works together to build a tree that takes over an entire tree and weighs over a ton. Giant bird's nest. How did this little bird accomplish this architectural miracle? Look carefully at their thick paint, which allows them to find the right. After getting the materials, you can also fly back to the cave with the cave at leisure. What's more, you can help them open the grass fruits, climb them, and then take away the materials. It's okay if they can't be installed. Now you have to look at their long legs. Because slender legs make it easier to cope with the complex environment inside the nest. When the weather is too hot, it can also help dissipate heat, but it is usually hidden under. Luckily is too easy to see clearly. Although the 3-ice configuration is good, I want to complete the branch tide. It also requires the strength of a team in the community of Kunske. Each pair will build their own separate room as long as the conditions are right for them. They breed all year round, just like us. You can pay attention to the child when he is young. When he grows up, we will. If you can't squeeze anymore, the young bird will move to the super line and get closer. In order to always have enough room in the empty room, parents are fine. We are about to build a house, and our children will occasionally come to help with the work. When we fall in love, we will also. We'll become housing farmers and continue the cycle. See their faces connected to. Are there dark spots on the chin? This is also a sign of a long bird, regardless of this question. Looking like this, as long as you start growing this Arab beard, it means they're going to have to carry the house on their backs. Why build such a big nest? Like our apartment buildings, our massive nests have thermal buffering capabilities. For example, it's already very hot outside in summer, but it's very cool in the corridor. Their bird's nest building can also buffer the local heat wave while also providing light at night. Not too cold. It's just that natural materials are not strong. So they have to constantly maintain the house, with the hard work of generations of working birds. Their nests can last for decades. For a skirt bird with a lifespan of only 10 years, this is considered real estate. Of course, building a real estate still takes time. The one next door hasn't been built yet. Let's go first and see what's in the next exhibition area. It will be ingenious in Africa. Skirted finches are not the only ones that use high-rise spaces. Some mammals also do the same. Here's a place close to the sun. Did you see it lying there? It's keeping warm. It's as motionless as a specimen. This one is. It's not a fat mouse or a puppy that absorbs solar energy. It's an ancient mammal. Although the name contains rabbit, they are related to rabbits. But the relationship is very distant. If you don't believe it, look at their little legs. They look more like KG, right? And rabbits don't have hooves, so where did the name come from? If you have never seen their flexible figures on our walls and branches, you will never imagine it. Their push leg structure can actually climb so high because of their fingers and glue fingers are all connected together like an elephant. It doesn't have the ability to grasp at all. This kind of hoof-like foot is the origin of Hyrax's name, and this feature also reveals their identity. The species closest to this kind of resemblance are elephants and manatees. These African beasts. Even the superiors appeared, more like the special residential elephant area and its kinship. The relationship must be farther. This is what nature has left us to cross. A gift of tens of millions of years, before the manatee goes into the sea, before the elephant grows its trunk. Their ancestors may have looked like this. How do they climb rocks if they don't even have the ability to grasp? Look carefully at their little fleshy feet. Their soles are used for rock climbing. Special glands evolved, these secretions plus the rings on the soles of the feet. The muscles produce suction-like force, which allows them to very slippery rocks and tree trunks. If this is your first time meeting them, please raise your hand on the barrage. Titus won't be the only species you see for the first time. Same day trip. Another type of small animal that has close social behavior also lives here. But they are full-fledged carnivores. They come from East Africa. How about this? Have you ever seen this combination of meat and vegetables? Why is it possible? On the one hand, the production areas of the two overlap and the climate settings are the same. Universal. On the other hand, it is difficult for pygming to pose a threat to Titu. Because they are so small. In the wild, they also feed on insects and vertebrates much smaller than themselves. The magpies on the opposite side can't get along, but it's still okay to live with the hyrax. Look, if you give them a fist-sized piece of beef, they can't even find a place to eat it. Wait, isn't the pig a herd animal? Will it attack in groups? Well, it is indeed possible, so the number of ferocious pigs is strictly controlled here. Let their combat capabilities be reduced to the point where they can only fight as a couple. The hyrax also came to watch the fun. And hyraxes are vegetarian, but their speed is not vegetarian. In the open. In the environment, Xuming wants to catch up with the hyrax that can fly smoke and walk over walls. The exhibition area we just skipped has been decorated, with branches and green leaves intertwined. The ground is paved with loose earth and electrical materials. There are also nozzles and spotlights in the sky. This combination makes you feel like a rainforest. Of course, the real rainforest is more boring than this, but the zoo still has to. Taking care of tourist visiting experience is not. Then who are the residents here? It was not easy to meet them in the initial period, although they are also pure heliomorphs, but their sensitive nature will keep them away from it. Visiting peak times are frequent, and today you can already easily. I saw him on a sunny morning. This little squirrel-like die. This species was featured in the first episode of the Berlin Sound series, and the Indian star tortoise appeared together. Do you still remember how to remember its English name? You can type out the barges you know. The display ideas in East Berlin are different. The high-rise spaces here have more runways and are easier for people to see. How they move in trees. If this is your first time seeing this species, I don't know if you can. I think it's a bit like the one in Ice Age who risked his life to protect the elephant fruit. Because they both have the same character, I can't tell if they are squirrels or not. It feels like although its movements are very similar to those of a squirrel, its inner being is closer to us. Brem once described it as being good at use long, curved nails. When you look scared, you are as agile as a monkey. This description is very accurate, and even predicts the evolutionary relationship between the two. There is a song in the name of Yu, but it is not remotely related to Shang Tzu, who has appeared in the show before his superiors. It is not a tweezer-like tooth, but more similar to us primates. For example, vision. Many people think they look like this and have big eyes. It's probably like rats for night travel. On the contrary, they are also visual animals. It is to improve their vision during the day that they. With such big eyes and small stature, his eyesight is very different from that of humans. Similar, but their color vision and night vision are not so good, so they can only. They are active during the day and look for food, although their sense of smell is still in its initial configuration. Listening has improved a lot. The sensitivity is 2 to 3 times greater than that of many modern primates, so they. It takes more time to get used to the noisy tourists, but fortunately there is plenty here. The bunkers greatly improved their sense of security. After months of. After getting used to it, they can now serve meals in front of others. Today the zoo prepared a fruit feast, which quickly attracted them. In order to control the shaking fruit, they can only hold on with their feet. The tree trunk stretched out its body to hug the pulp, trying to find it in the swaying air. The breeders don't want them to eat this string too easily. The fruit is just a little away from the climbing objects on 3 sides. Make it have to jump locations multiple times to find the best seats. Yes. This is the feeding style. Under this oxygen, it is too easy for animals to obtain high sugar and high fat food. They also lack stimulation and exercise and want to improve their life pleasure through transformation. The feeding process is a trick, otherwise many animals would be there. In the life of eating, sleeping, and eating, I am getting lazier and fatter. In the end, lifespan sharply reduced. So this is not a stumbling block for them. This is a hearty game. This is what both tourists and animals want. Why are they so wasteful when eating fruit? They eat and fish at the same time. In fact, the intestines of mathematics cannot digest the crude fiber in mango and pineapple like ours. Small pieces can be swallowed, but large pieces can only be squeezed out in the mouth. Then spit out the pulp, just like chewing ice apples. This seems like a waste. This behavior also provides a way to propagate seeds for small fruits, such as. Many moraceae plants in the jungle benefit from this. Look at him. It tastes so delicious. I doubt you can buy sweet mangoes in Germany. If your hands get sticky after eating the fruit, there's water to wash them with. They are no exception. It's just that they use spit. In slow motion you can see them. The length is also pink and tender. This kind of hand that is used for climbing and grasping will be very uncomfortable if it gets stuck, so they have to carefully clean every crevice. This behavior and craftsmanship. Same to keep your mouth and nose fresh. If something is dirty, you should lick it. But the difference is that their noses is wet. This feature can also be seen in living relatively primitive primates. Cleaning like this can also moisturize their noses. Living in a rich tropical jungle, it can be said that there are endless fruits to eat. Animals and plants use their own way to symbiosis and mutual benefit, and jointly weave the ecology. It's boring. This scene is also happening on the other side of the world. This is the last exhibition area we are going to talk about today. In fact, this is the ballfish exhibition area that we showed you in the first episode of the nightclub. It's just that we are observing this ecology from a different angle now on the second floor. This layer imitates the discontinuous layers of the Brazilian rainforest. Visitors here. Finally, you no longer have to look up thanks to the clever structural design of the restaurant. Everyone has reached great heights at this time. In comparison, the previous exhibitions can all be considered as the first phase. But if you want, survive in this vertical technical space of step ID. Climbing ability is very important. So what species can live in such a mansion? As the star of the venue. One, he has been active in the notes of major naturalists since ancient times. Brem will make him alive one of the rarest species in Europe. In Hong Bao's eyes, he is the most beautiful animal with the most exquisite form. One of. He is the golden retriever lion king in the jungle. Golden lion face. How about it? Is he the coolest monkey you've ever seen? Jin Cheng's coat color, flowing hair. Everyone who sees it will sigh that nature is the strongest teacher, Tony. But if a little monkey with the size of a big squirrel dares to be so showy, isn't it afraid of attracting natural enemies? The canopy is far away from the ground and is less likely to be targeted by natural enemies through the leaves. The bears are all golden, which rules out sexual selection. Therefore, the greatest possibility of growing up like this lies in their habits. On lost face, like other diurnal animals, vision requires enough brightness to achieve optimal performance, so they often foraging for food in the light spots in the canopy, and at this time, this kind of food is in the sunlight. The golden hair that shines down to the point of turning white is both invisible and heat reflective at the same time. In addition to being able to eat fruits and sow seeds at the same time like a tree area, they also capture insects on trees to catch this wave of breeders' head and tail. Locusts are caught by it. Their excellent day-by-day vision can make they latch on to prey among the trees, something Foy observed as early as the 19th century. These little monkeys even tried to catch the bugs in the painting. This pair of their eyes also allow them to quickly detect danger. For example, it is looking ahead now, but it turns out that it is looking too closely and not looking. Me, what is it that attracts him so much? It turns out that the breeder came in. Watering. Are you looking at that water pipe? If you want the soil to retain moisture, you need water. Watering enough and spraying water is not enough. They found that there was no food and left again. Maybe they were not familiar with this person. Breeders, because many Kim's faces can adapt to people quickly. More than 100 years ago, Bates were also killed by a daredevil in their place of origin, attracted by the face that walks among human beings. If you don't defend them, you'll be honored. Become their enrichment, and be active every day for up to 10 hours. The wet face creates a huge contrast, and we also live in the Brazilian rainforest. Species, can you think of what it is stick on a sunny afternoon? Notice the swaying leaves. You can discover our Easter eggs here are not just autumn fish and golden wet faces. Home is also home to another species. That's the two-finger tree blue, famous for its lightning. Doesn't it have 3 fingers? This is actually their toes. The two-finger tree blue refers to theirs. The front paws have 2 long hook-like fingers. This specialized structure allows they hang firmly on the tree. The long silky hairs are bunched together, making it even harder to distinguish the head and tail. They are sleeping. The sloth looks like a big coconut. The sleeping sloth can sleep nearly 20 hours a day and wants to sleep during the day. It is very difficult to see them active during the opening period of the party. And I just caught up, grooming for just a few minutes at a time. They also wash their hands with their tongues. Of course, I also wash them. After the crux is over, this day may pass. Those 3 species. Isn't it crowded if we live together? We can pay attention to the environmental distribution. Lu Yu is a strict ground walker. His face is basically on the tree. He only knows how to walk on the ground. They occasionally go to the ground, but their small size does not hinder the Lu fish at all. I've been in the tree today without being touched. Therefore, the 3 can coexist harmoniously. This is also the principle of Hunyang. As long as the venue is large enough so animals won't prey on each other, and the ground monkeys aren't very different. If so, there is a possibility of being reared. Isn't that the way it is in the wild? By ballfish, sloth, and wetface, these 3 species run neatly through. We can easily notice that they are also mammals. The difference in behavioral patterns between them can be said to be a natural difference. Therefore, professional breeders will definitely develop different feeding strategies. This huge behavioral difference exists between lizards alone. Not to mention the difference between the entire crawling stele. So there is nothing in the world that can be applied to all reptiles. The less you know about feeding methods, the more unnecessary things you will find. This cognitive bias also appeared in mammal breeding 200 to 300 years ago. So in our era, there are still too many unresolved problems. Okay. The above is the 6th episode of the Holy Spirit GD series. If the length and content of this episode satisfy you, don't forget the 3-in-1. Repost and give some encouragement to this video with tens of thousands of words. It can also help you unlock more new faces as soon as possible. Tai Chi, I will take you into a new world. Meet the energetic Shuiyang parrot in Guangkongli and Rock. The stylish fierce-mouthed deer can be seen up close, and you can also accompany the rare animal. The tree kangaroos grew up together and met again the beautiful and auspicious beasts of the Sahara. The excitement of the next episode is not limited to these, which can be unlocked if you get more than 10,000 likes. I am Holly and I look forward to meeting you in the 7th episode of the Wonderland series.